Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Orthodoxy as a consequence of being conventional. Something regarded as a normative example. The convention of not naming the main character. The act of convening. A large formal assembly. Political convention. Diplomacy, an international agreement. Orthodoxy as a consequence of being conventional. Orthodoxy as a consequence of being conventional. Conformity with conventional thought and behavior. Unoriginality as a result of being too conventional. A group of symbols that make a mathematical statement. Something regarded as a normative example. His formula for impressing visitors. Mathematics, a standard procedure for solving a class of mathematical problems. He gave us a general formula for attacking polynomials. A representation of a substance using symbols for its constituent elements. Directions for making something. A conventionalized statement expressing some fundamental principle. A liquid food for infants. Something regarded as a normative example. Being approximately average or within certain limits in e.g. intelligence and development. A perfectly normal child. Conforming with or constituting a norm or standard or level or type or social norm, not abnormal. Serve wine at normal room temperature. Forming a right angle. In accordance with scientific laws. A customary way of operation or behavior. They changed their dietary pattern. A perceptual structure. A visual pattern must include not only objects but the spaces between them. Something intended as a guide for making something else. A pattern for a skirt. A decorative or artistic work. The path that is prescribed for an airplane that is preparing to land at an airport. The traffic patterns around O'Hare are very crowded. Something regarded as a normative example. Graphical representation, in polar or Cartesian coordinates, of the spatial distribution of radiation from an antenna as a function of angle. Plan or create according to a model or models. A model considered worthy of imitation. The American Constitution has provided a pattern for many republics. Form a pattern. These sentences pattern like the ones we studied before. Linguistics. A rule describing, or prescribing, a linguistic practice. Measuring stick consisting of a strip of wood or metal or plastic with a straight edge that is used for drawing straight lines and measuring lengths. Prescribed guide for conduct or action. A principle or condition that customarily governs behavior. It was his rule to take a walk before breakfast. Exercise authority over, as of nations. Decide with authority. A rule or law concerning a natural phenomenon or the function of a complex system. The right-hand rule for inductive fields. Something regarded as a normative example. Violence is the rule, not the exception. Mathematics. A standard procedure for solving a class of mathematical problems. He determined the upper bound with Descartes' rule of signs. Be larger in number, quantity, power, status or importance. dominance or power through legal authority. The rule of Caesar. Decide on and make a declaration about. A basic generalization that is accepted as true and that can be used as a basis for reasoning or conduct. Keep in check. Rule one's temper. Any one of a systematic body of regulations defining the way of life of members of a religious order. The rule of Saint Dominic. Directions that define the way a game or sport is to be conducted. He knew the rules of chess. Have an affinity with, of signs of the zodiac. Mark or draw with a ruler. Rule the margins. The duration of a monarch's or government's power. During the rule of Elizabeth. The act of convening. A belief or orientation agreeing with conventional standards. The quality of being orthodox, especially in religion. Translating an idea into action. A hard theory to put into practice. A customary way of operation or behavior. It is their practice to give annual raises. Avail oneself to. Practice a religion. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. Practice makes perfect. Learn by repetition. Pianists practice scales. Engage in a rehearsal, of. Engage in or perform. Practice safe sex. Carry out or practice, as of jobs and professions. Practice law. Knowledge of how something is usually done. It is not the local practice to wear shorts to dinner. The exercise of a profession. The practice of the law. The act of constructing something, as a piece of machinery. The social act of assembling. They demanded the right of assembly. A public facility to meet for open discussion. A group of machine parts that fit together to form a self-contained unit. A group of persons who are gathered together for a common purpose. A unit consisting of components that have been fitted together. The act of gathering something. A group of persons together in one place. The social act of assembling. Sewing consisting of small folds or puckers made by pulling tight a thread in a line of stitching. A system of components assembled together for a particular purpose. Several things grouped together or considered as a whole. A group of persons together in one place. The social act of assembling. The social act of assembling for some common purpose. His meeting with the salesman was the high point of his day. The act of joining together as one. There was no meeting of minds. A formally arranged gathering. Next year the meeting will be in Chicago. A place where things merge or flow together, especially rivers. A casual or unexpected convergence. He still remembers their meeting in Paris. A small informal social gathering. There was an informal meeting in my living room. A formally arranged gathering. A written agreement between two states or sovereigns. A written agreement between two states or sovereigns. Go together. Harmony of people's opinions or actions or characters. Allow to have. Concurrence of opinion. We are in accord with your proposal. A written agreement between two states or sovereigns. Sympathetic compatibility. Hardened conventionality. The calcification of soft tissue into a bone-like material. The developmental process of bone formation. The process of becoming rigidly fixed in a conventional pattern of thought or behavior. Orthodoxy in thoughts and belief. Correspondence in form or appearance. Acting according to certain accepted standards. Their financial statements are in conformity with generally accepted accounting practices. Concurrence of opinion. Hardened conventionality. Sociology, the conventions that embody the fundamental values of a group. Linguistics, a grammatical rule, or other linguistic feature, that is found in all languages. Logic, a proposition that asserts something of all members of a class. Coupling that connects two rotating shafts allowing freedom of movement in all directions. In motor vehicles, a universal joint allows the drive shaft to move up and down as the vehicle passes over bumps. Of worldwide scope or applicability. Universal experience. A behavioral convention or pattern characteristic of all members of a particular culture or of all human beings. Some form of religion seems to be a human universal. Adapted to various purposes, sizes, forms, operations. Universal wrench. Applicable to or common to all members of a group or set. The play opened to universal acclaim. A set of conventional principles and expectations that are considered binding on any person who is a member of a particular group. A set of conventional principles and expectations that are considered binding on any person who is a member of a particular group. The Convention of United States statesmen who drafted the United States Constitution in 1787. Negotiation between nations. Wisdom in the management of public affairs. Negotiation between nations. Subtly skillful handling of a situation. An agreement first drawn up in Geneva in 1864 and later revised concerning the treatment of captured and wounded military personnel and civilians in wartime. A global treaty banning the production or acquisition or stockpiling or transfer or use of chemical weapons.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.